You're watching Man Coverage with Nate Schmidt and James Bonneville on National Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everyone. Or afternoon. It is Man Coverage. This is Knoxville Nate and James Bonneville. We are Man Coverage. We are coming to you live. College football week number 2. I cannot believe how fast life and football goes. We're already in the second week of the season. We also had week 0, which makes no sense, but really it's the third week of college football. But we call it week 2. James, how you doing, buddy?
Good. It was, you looked at the slate of games yesterday or this weekend, and you were like, And once again, it showed us something. I think it was a lot to talk about today. So
yeah, every time you think there's going to be no content and that the games are going to be garbage, we find out that's not true because we had some pretty solid games. Just so everyone knows, we also have former 1989 College Football Player of the Year, Darian Hagan, slated to be on the show today. They had some suspect meeting come up with unscheduled meeting come up with his head coach, so he may be a little bit tardy. We might have to do that interview a little bit later. So anyone who's tuning in for that, don't worry, we are going to get him patched in as soon as we can. But why don't we go ahead and talk about the games that were yesterday and talk a little bit about, probably the highlight game of the day and the game that was probably getting the most press because it was really the only, ranked team matchup. And that would be the one that we are here in Norman, Oklahoma, with Oklahoma and the Michigan Wolverines. James, this game had nothing to do with the score. I realized the end of the game, the score was 24-13. This game was nowhere near that close. The one drive that Michigan did have was all penalties, some of them ridiculous. That defensive holding call was an absolute joke on number 52, the D lineman. Never seen that call before in my life. Then the personal foul on the punter was also a joke. They had stopped them again inside the 10, and they got to move it out and got a 15-yard penalty and a first down. I guess I want to get your reaction. Did this game go how you thought it would go? What did you think prior to the game as far as what this matchup looked like, and what did you think after?
Going into it, I wasn't sure because let's be honest, Oklahoma's been an enigma since Venables has shown up in Norman. And honestly, I came out of this game and I'm fairly impressed. I think the part that impresses me the most is Venables is going back to what he knows best. He's calling plays on defense because when he's on his game, he's probably one of the best defensive coordinators in college football history. And then they brought in Ben Arbuckle, the OC from Washington State, to take over, and they look like a different team. Like last year, they just they would show spurts here and there, but they never seemed to play a complete game. Yeah, they beat Alabama, but it's not like an Alabama team of the past. But they look good. They looked actually good where I think they could compete for the SEC. Granted, there is some flaws in this team, but they look a hell of a lot better this year than they did last year. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would. And it starts at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know. I'm not going to blame the guys that played last year, Jackson Arnold and, I can't remember his name now, but the other guy that was starting games for them pretty consistently last year, they took a lot of the heat, but really there just wasn't great, blocking. There wasn't guys getting open. Yesterday, the one thing I saw was you had a field general. You had Mateer in the backfield who was throwing darts. He was running the ball. I didn't know he could run like that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I guess I didn't watch a ton of him at Washington State, but man, he's really, really good with his legs. He was the leading rusher with 19 carries for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he threw for almost 300 yards. So that's the main difference to me is this guy, calling the offense. He looked poised. He looked calm. He looked collected. He looked confident. I was really, really impressed with him. And, how good Michigan is and how good their defense is, I'm not sure. But they looked good at times, running around. But really, they were never in control as far as Michigan goes. Oklahoma was in control of this game. And also Deion Burks, the wide receiver, that guy is what they were missing last year, a difference maker, a guy that can score on any play, a guy that, can break a long one. I know his long was only 34 yards, but he can get loose. And also I was impressed with number 12, the tight end, Kinnick, however you pronounce his name. And number 5, Sadinga was also impressive. So they had some skill guys, but really it all starts at the quarterback position. Talk to me about what was going wrong with the Michigan offense. Why could they not get anything going? Justice Haynes had 125 yards, but he had 75 on 1 carry.
Yeah.
You take that carry away, which was the first play in the second half, which was just a complete missed assignment by about 3 guys on the Oklahoma defense. Why could Michigan not get anything going, James?
I mean, they were just getting beaten on the line of scrimmage. They were not as fast. I mean, heck, we've been talking about it forever. Who are they going to throw to? Like, I kept hearing about their tight end was out. Yeah. I mean, who their best guy potentially is Samaj Morgan, and really Morgan is a returner. He's not a receiver. Roman Wilson's not on the sideline. Like, if they're going to do something, if Bryce Underwood is that good, they better go in the transfer portal and start looking for receivers and left tackles in a hurry, because otherwise, I mean, you're just wasting the time he's got there before he goes pro or transfers out. I mean, if he is that good, give him some freaking something to work with. But what I saw was a guy who was a freshman. He played a freshman going into a very hostile environment, and it showed. 9 to 24. I mean, some of it, some bad overthrows, but he just looked like he was like out of his element. And Michigan, in some ways, I think Sharon was trying not to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because playing at Owen Field, Gaylord Family Stadium, that's a tough place to play for a true freshman. It's not playing Saline, Michigan. He's not playing another high school in Michigan anymore. This is the big time.
That's true. But this Oklahoma team was also 3-6 in the SEC last year, James. So let's not act like they're like the greatest team in college football.
Oh, no, disagree. Can't disagree with you on that one.
But they did make them look pretty good yesterday. My whole thing is you paid this guy $12 million to come to your school. You've been building him up like he's the second coming. And yesterday, it just looked like he had no idea what he was doing out there. Then he's yelling at people on the sidelines. He's fighting with his own teammates. He's getting really frustrated. He's not really a runner. This guy is not. He's not a running quarterback at all. And and yesterday he couldn't throw. So 9 of 24 for 142 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. That was just not a good performance. And I can tell you that they're going to see some defenses that are just as good, if not better than Oklahoma as they go throughout the rest of the season. Where do they go from here? What do you, if you're Sharon Moore, who, by the way, I'm not so sure Sharon Moore is the greatest coach in the world. He now has 6 losses as the head coach at regular season losses as the head coach at Michigan. That's the same amount of regular season losses that Ryan Day has had at Ohio State. However, Sharon Moore has only been the coach there for 590 days, whereas Ryan Day's been the coach there for 7 years. So I think that I'm concerned, I guess, about Underwood. I'm concerned about the coaching and the leadership. What do you see for Michigan moving forward here?
I mean, you look at next week, they got to play Central Michigan. But, I mean, heck, last week, New Mexico was playing a game with them through 3 quarters.
Yes.
I mean, this is not like it's like, oh my, Oklahoma's not as good. I mean, Michigan got beat by Oklahoma. They didn't show up well last week. I think if they're going to show anything this year, they got to come out against Central Michigan and show something. Because, I mean, granted, you look at their Big Ten schedule, it's not daunting by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, their toughest games at USC. I mean, the way USC's receivers are looking, that's a loss. But then Ohio State, I mean, their third hardest game would be either Michigan State or Nebraska?
Maybe Nebraska. Yeah, I mean, they have to play Nebraska. They play Wisconsin. They play USC. They play Washington, who beat them last year and looks okay. Michigan State, is okay. But they really have an easy schedule. This was probably, besides the Ohio State, this game was probably the toughest game on their schedule. Until
USC and Ohio State. No, you're absolutely right. Agreed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, USC's on the road as well. So yeah, that might be a tough one, but they've got a lot of work to do, and I'm certain that Michigan fans are a little concerned after what went down yesterday and just how that offense looked, and then how the defense got kind of run over. I mean, if you think about it, that was a lot of an offense. I haven't seen that much offense out of Oklahoma since Lincoln Riley was there. They ran for 138 yards and threw, like I said, for almost 300. That was pretty impressive. And I like this kid quarterback. I understand now why they moved off of Arnold and went with this guy. This guy's better and was very impressive and played better than I thought he would, honestly. So got to give him some credit there. Probably the biggest shocker of the day, at least in my opinion, was the game in the Swamp.
Yeah.
Wow. South Florida now, bro, has won 2 games in a row against ranked teams. Now, we said last week that this offense looks legitimate, that that Tennessee's offense hasn't looked the same since, Alex left and went to South Florida. But yesterday it was really the defense that played well for the Bulls. Were you shocked as I was that they were able to take down the Gators in the Swamp and take them down the way they did with, beating them 18-16? And Martin Grammatica's son wins the game with the field goal. That was pretty cool.
I swear there's like as many Locketts there are in college football. There's just got to be as many Grammaticas in college football. It's like the name that just keeps going on and on. But what Golish is doing in Tampa is impressive. And honestly, you look at next week, who do they play? At Miami.
Yes.
I mean, they have a chance where they could be the state champs.
Oh, and who did their schedule? I mean,
yes, I know.
Opening up against Boise, who was in the college football playoff, then playing Florida in the Swamp, and then you play your third game against Miami with probably the best Canes team we've seen since Larry Coker.
Yeah.
Who scheduled this?
I mean, but let's be honest. You and I both know that game's going to get eyes on it. I mean, even though it's going to be on the CW, you and I both know people are going to watch that game. If that was like earlier on, I guarantee you that would have been on a bigger network. But
I'm going to watch that game.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, because there's a realistic chance they could win that game. There is a very realistic chance they could beat Miami. Miami's not unbeatable. They look more talented, but this South Florida team really is coming together.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they held Florida to 133 yards on the ground. Not the greatest numbers there, but they made Lagway look pedestrian. He had 222 yards, a touchdown and a pick, but a QBR of 58.8. And really, I guess the thing that impressed me away from the numbers and everything, the thing that impressed me the most was the confidence that this team played with. They came in and just, I didn't see anybody on their team that thought they were going to lose. I mean, everybody on the South Florida team came in thinking they were going to win, and they played that way the entire time. And this was a huge win for them. I mean, when is this the biggest win in the history of their program?
Oh God! Now remember back during the Jim Leavitt era. I mean, they were. They were ranked in the top 5 at one point.
Who they beat?
Oh God, who was it? Rutgers was up there. West Virginia. I got to go back and look at it, but in the last 10 years, 5 years, yeah, absolutely. This is their biggest win. 100%.
This is the biggest win that I can think of off the top of my head, in the history of their program. I mean, this is a program that, has only had football for 26 years. And they haven't had a ton of success. They did have some good years there under Leavitt, but they've shown right now they can compete with anybody. And, this guy, I judge a coach by when they leave, what does their program look like after they're gone? If they're an offensive coordinator, what does the offense look like after this guy leaves? The Tennessee offense hasn't looked the same since he left. And I think this guy is a solid coach. What do you think, James?
Agreed. I mean, honestly, if our boy Napier gets fired, I gotta say, I would think he'd be a logical, top tier A candidate for that job, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you're already recruiting in the state. It's not that far away. I mean, look what he's done. I mean, it's impressive how he's really kind of resurrected this team. I mean, last year they went 6-6, went to a bowl game, beat San Jose State. I mean, there was a time when South Florida was just really couldn't win a game. They had speed, but up front they were just soft. Yeah. And I mean, Brown is really putting together a very nice season, not only through the air, but also on the ground too as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was their leading passer. He was their leading rusher. The only thing I could see that could be an issue with this team is if he goes down.
Yes.
Because they rely on him heavily. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to get hurt. I mean, he looks pretty put together well. I think he's a solid guy and a solid player. But if he were to go down with injury, I think that could be a problem for them just because they rely on him so much. But huge win for South Florida. Massive loss for Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. Where do the Gators go from here, James? I mean, is this going to start? This can either energize this team and they could respond to this, or this could go south real easily, don't you think?
Yeah, and we're going to find out really quick because guess who plays them next week?
Give it to us.
At LSU.
Yeah.
That's
going to be an interesting one.
And then you go from at LSU to, oh crap, at Miami. I mean, home against Texas at A&M.
Who did their schedule?
I'm like, I look at their schedule and I'm like, I mean, that was a game you needed to win.
Yes, I agree.
And now you're stuck with your ears pinned back. It's going to be much more difficult, much more difficult. And if they don't come out fast against Louisiana State, I mean, he may have lost that locker room.
Yeah.
And if that happens, I mean, pack your bags. You might as well fire him now, get it over with, and start the process, because if you're not ahead of the curve, you're behind it.
Yeah, if they get blown out by LSU, I could see some rumblings in Gainesville for sure. I mean, he ended that season so well last year, winning those last 4 games when we thought, man, they could easily lose all 4 of those. He won all 4. He had some momentum, and then yesterday just kind of laying a stinker. That could be an issue. Another team that laid a stinker yesterday but was able to come back and win was the Clemson Tigers. They were down 16 to Troy at home. Now, James, was this just a product of the weather delay, and the stopping and starting of this game? Are we going to give Dabo and the boys some credit here? Do they suck? I mean, what do you think?
I would go yes and no on this one. First off, Troy is not a bad program. I mean, John Summerall did great work there. Gerard Parker. This is a quality, group of 6 program. But this is Clemson, who's a top 10 team. And the one thing that I keep coming back to is I look at their running game, and their running game is pretty freaking pedestrian. And if they're not getting it through the air, I mean, you're going to have to rely on that defensive line, which is special. But if they're going to go to the playoff, they got to look a lot better than this. They got to find a running game, because their offensive line has been a problem. Like we said last week, during the Dabo era, they've had one guy get drafted. One. That's it.
One lineman, yeah. No, and I think, that's an issue. The other thing that's concerning me right now is the quarterback. I mean, he was not this guy, I thought he was the best quarterback in college football, or could be potentially the best quarterback in college football. Thus far through 2 weeks, James, I don't think you can say that this guy is the best quarterback in college football. What's going on with him? And do you think he can get out of this? I mean, this guy, he threw an interception yesterday. At the end of the game, second half, he played really well, but, it was very shoddy in the first half. Running the ball, he had 5 carries for -4 yards. Just not what I expected from him. What's going on with Klubnik?
It's one thing being a quarterback. It's another thing being a quarterback that's a Heisman hopeful. That the weight of those words really weighs on you. And there's another guy we're going to talk about later on where he's not even a shell of what he was last year. And if you got to live up to the hype if you're going to win a Heisman Trophy. And he's just not. I mean, granted, we're 2 games through it. And we've seen plenty of times where quarterbacks have meandered their way through and then come November show up. I mean, Kyler Murray is one. RG3 is another. They could do it, but I mean, if you're not on TV, who's going to care? Like, you got to have games that are meaningful too as well. So I don't know. I think the pressure's getting to him, and but at the same time, the pressure's going to have to get to him on Sundays too.
Well, yeah,
so you better get used to it now.
Well, he knew there was going to be pressure. I mean, certainly he understood that going into this year, but it's just not looking good so far. And this is something we've seen before where Clemson didn't come out of the gates real hot. Dabo galvanized this team, got them focused, got them all on the same page, and then they finished the season strong. Like last year, for example. They looked really good at the end of the year. So I could see him turning this around. If anybody can do it with this program, it's him. But just so far, I have not been overly impressed with the offense of Clemson. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, especially that second half of the LSU game, it felt like they were just hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, I agree. And another team that maybe we expected a lot from just based on last year, Cam Scatterbo is gone, okay? And we all knew that. But they bring back Sam Levitt, who's kind of a proven commodity. They've got the wide receiver, Jordan Tyson. So we all kind of thought, Raleek Brown and Udo, the running backs. Both those guys yesterday for Arizona State ran for 100 yards. You'd think if you run for 251 yards, you're going to win the football game. But they did not. And now we've got Mississippi State coming in at 2-0, beating a pretty good Arizona State team, or what we thought was a pretty good Arizona State team. What did you think about this game, and were you surprised that Mississippi State was able to take down Arizona State?
I wasn't. I wasn't surprised because I thought Arizona State was ranked a little too high. I think it was all based on last year's hype. But I look on their – Scatterbo is a great player. But, one thing I keep looking at is their defense. Is go back to last year's game against Texas, or a lot of them, but the Texas game in particular. They were blitzing. They live by the blitz. You die by the blitz. And you look at the touchdowns that Mississippi State scored in this game, in every single case, someone fell on a 6-man blitz. And if that's the case, Blake Shapen's a mature enough quarterback that he's going to find that guy in single coverage and start the school song. And, it's going to work sometimes. It's not going to work sometimes. But, Mississippi State allowed Arizona State to get back in this game. You had a 17-0 lead and let that piss away where you had to come back and win it at the end.
Yeah, not good. Talk to me a little bit more about this Blake Shapen guy. This is a dude that, had pretty good year in 2022. He obviously, in case people don't know, came from Baylor.
Yeah.
Not a huge sample of success, but 2022 was a pretty good year for him, throwing for 18 touchdowns and almost 2,800 yards. Things didn't go as well in 2023. Then he comes to Mississippi State last year, gets to play a little bit. But so far this year, this guy has looked solid. What do you think about this guy? And can we expect more from him moving forward? Nobody was talking about Blake Shapen before the year. I think they should be talking about him now.
I've always thought the kid was a talented individual. He just needed to showcase himself. I mean, Baylor was so set on getting Sawyer Robertson the ball that they wanted to get him on the field no matter what. So, I mean, it's nothing they had against Blake Shapen. It was, he moved on to go to Mississippi State. The talent was there. It was just Baylor really was more bought into Sawyer Robertson. Let's be honest, Sawyer Robertson's a hell of a quarterback. It's not like, Baylor made Dave Miranda made a mistake there. And quite frankly, you look at Shapen, he looked good. He looked really good. I mean, quite frankly, it could have been better. But Mississippi State's defense is not as good as it should be right now. But I mean, let's be honest. At the end of the day, is Mississippi State going to be a contender in the SEC? Heck, I don't even think they're going to be in the middle point of the SEC. Do you?
Yeah, we'll get into it here in a minute because we're going to do buying and selling here. And I'm not going to give away my answer, but I will. Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not buying them just yet, but I do like this quarterback thus far. 4 touchdowns he's thrown. That is impressive. 3 touchdowns yesterday against an Arizona State team that's supposed to be number 12. As me and you mentioned, I do think a lot of the expectation based upon this Arizona State team was pulling from last year. I don't know if that all, that's why I don't like preseason polls. We haven't seen this team. We don't know how to rate these programs until they get into it and they start playing. And so far, I'm not so sure Arizona State is as good as a football team as they were last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, Michigan the same way. I mean, Michigan was ranked 15, Oklahoma ranked 18, yet Oklahoma was a 7-point favorite at most, 5.5 at the least. I mean, how often do you see that happen? I mean, if they're that close, that should be a 3-point spread either way.
Yes, and we had a little bit of an in-state rival game going on yesterday in the great corn state of Iowa. Obviously, Big Noon Kickoff was there. Iowa State is in town, taking on Iowa. Kirk Ferentz trying to make his offense a little bit more improved. They managed a whopping 13 points, James. And Iowa State was able to get this done. I guess the biggest thing to me, the biggest takeaway was the ability for Iowa State to win this game in kind of a bar fight, winning a 16-13 matchup in a close game like this. You would think if the game was 16-13, I kind of would have thought Iowa would win, a grounded pound game, playing defense, running the football. I kind of expected if this game was close and low scoring that Iowa might win. I figured if it was up in the 20s and the 30s, then we would see Iowa State. What did you think about this matchup coming in, and what did you think about how this game played out between these two rivals?
Well, I look at Iowa State, and honestly, and we're going to talk about another team later on, I think there's a little bit of a hangover effect from the game in Dublin. Yeah. And, I mean, you've seen this in the past, Nebraska, Florida State. I mean, other teams that have gone over there. I don't understand why you play a game in Dublin and then turn around and play a game the next week and then a game a week after that. I guarantee you these guys are tired right now.
Yeah.
But at the exact same time, a Matt Campbell team, like down the stretch, Matt Campbell teams execute at the exact right time. And you look at the drive to set up that 54-yard field goal, it wasn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination, but they found a way to make it work. And Iowa, man, I don't care who they put at quarterback. It just seems like nothing seems to work. I mean, the last good quarterback there would be what? Drew Tate? Brad Banks?
Ricky Stanzi was pretty good there for a couple of years. Ricky Stanzi got drafted in the 5th round by the Kansas City Chiefs. That would probably be the last quarterback that I saw that had a pulse in Iowa. And everybody since him has just kind of been meh at best. And yesterday you're talking about playing an entire football game and you throw for 83 yards and an interception, that's not going to get it done, man. And I guess I don't understand why they can't get the offense fixed. Kirk Ferentz knows more about football than me and you will ever know. This guy has won more games than a lot of people programs have won. Why can he not get the offense fixed, James? Why can they not ever get it rolling? I don't understand it.
It never used to be this bad, but over the last decade, it's this bad. I mean, it's unbelievable. If Iowa would have beat Iowa State yesterday, Kirk Ferentz would have overtaken Woody Hayes as the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten history.
Yeah. He will
crazy.
do that. But the last several years, Iowa has not been good. And I'm kind of surprised that they've let this continue on as long as they had. I don't know. I mean, are Iowa fans okay with this? I mean, it seems like you would think with some of the success this program has had under Kirk Ferentz and otherwise that they would want to take that next step and have more success than they've had. Why are Iowa fans okay with what has been going on? I mean, I know some of them are frustrated with the offense, but I haven't really heard much calls for his job. Have you?
Well, you look at Iowa, their athletic department as a whole. I mean, they've had 2 coaches in the last 50 years in football.
Yeah.
2. I mean, Iowa doesn't fire people. Once you get there, it's you want to leave. I think the only time I've ever actually heard them fire somebody was their basketball coach last season.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't like to fire people. When you're there, it's comfortable. They like it static. And I mean, Kirk has been, heck, he was trying to get his son to be the guy to take over for him. And they stopped that.
Yeah.
Now, who becomes their next head coach? That's a $6 million question the day that Kirk, I think Kirk's going to leave much sooner than later. But the biggest question is who takes that job. I mean, Chris Kleiman would make sense, but it ain't going to be Mike Stoops with that contract that he has at Kansas or Kentucky.
Yeah, no, and I could see Coach Ferentz potentially retiring after this season if things don't go well. There was some talk about him potentially retiring after last year. I could see him potentially stepping away if this year, doesn't go as well. But we will come back here in just a moment. We're going to talk about a few more games, and then we're going to get into which teams we are buying and which teams we are selling.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Shop them with confidence and go online right now to SeatGeek.com. Enter in promo code NSS. Get you a discount on us and get yourself into the game. We talked a little bit earlier about Blake Shapen, the quarterback, how he came from Baylor, all the things that transpired there. Another game that went down yesterday that was kind of surprising to me was Baylor being able to take off SMU and hold them off and win 48-45. This was a game that Dave Aranda is kind of known for his defense, James, giving up 45 points in a victory, not really his style. But a win is a win is a win. Once again, is SMU ranked number 17 right now because of last year, or do you think that this team is still good?
Honestly, they brought a lot back, especially Kevin Jennings, who really wasn't. I mean, he was a big reason why they made the college football playoff last year. I mean, he's a really good quarterback, but man, there were times where I kept seeing people putting Baylor at the top of the Big 12, and I'm like, Baylor's either really good or they underachieve. And I think this is going to be one of those good years because you got to go right to Sawyer Robertson, and then Bryson Washington. I mean, Washington is just a very dynamic running back with electric hips. I mean, not the greatest game, only 3.7 yards per carry on the ground. And but he had 2 touchdowns and 115 yards. But you look at Robertson, 34-50, 440 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, he is as advertised. He is the reason why Aranda believed in him and let Blake Shapen go on to Mississippi State. I mean, I guarantee you Aranda is probably going nuts right now with 45 points scored on him. But SMU's got an offense. I mean, Ramil Brinson, the old Miami product, TJ Harden, the old UCLA product, and Kevin Jennings is a hell of a quarterback too as well. So
he is, and this is 2 weeks in a row now that Robertson has thrown for over 400 yards. Now, last week they lost to Auburn. I don't know how you throw for 400 yards versus Auburn and you lose, but they did. But that's 2 weeks in a row that they've thrown for 400 yards. Big win for them, taking down SMU. But what does he have to do to get this defense to step up? Because they've got to figure something out to get some stops. And, we've seen this guy, orchestrate defenses before. Do you think he can get this defense turned around? And what does he have to do to improve on what they've put on tape so far?
He's got to do it. If he's going to do it, he's got to do it quick. And it starts next week against Samford. I mean, because, you get into Big 12 schedule time. I mean, there's going to be some rough games, like when you have to go to TCU, a rival of theirs. I mean, that they have that up-tempo offense. I mean, what are they going to do against Tyson when they played them at home against Arizona State? I mean, they're going to have to deal with something. Otherwise, are they going to play track meet ball, which, Baylor has done in the past with RG3? But do you want to buy on that to make the college football playoff?
Yeah, no, and especially with this coach. I mean, he doesn't want to be giving up 45 points a game.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is kind of, cut his teeth on solid defensive play. And so I really feel like he wants to get this thing solved and go from there. But he's got the quarterback. And that's where you want to start.
Yeah.
That's the most important position on the team. And Robertson has proven that he can throw the ball and that they can put points on the board, at least this week. And, that was a big win for them. And SMU, I do still think, is a good football team. They've got obviously they're very well coached with Lashley at the controls. So I think they'll bounce back from this. It's not like they got blown out. They lost 48-45 in double overtime. So I'm not writing off the Mustangs just yet. But one more game or two more games we're going to get to. One important game here in the SEC. Early SEC matchup here with Ole Miss and Kentucky. Ole Miss finally beats Kentucky. They've had some struggles with the Wildcats before, and they finally got it done. But it was another close game, a 1-touchdown game, 30-23 was the final. What did you think about the Ole Miss Rebels thus far? What do you think about their new quarterback in Mr. Simmons yesterday, throwing 2 picks, and they were still able to come over and overcome that and win the game against Kentucky?
I'm really impressed with Austin Simmons. Now I'm worried about him now because of the injury he sustained. But he really, I mean, this is a kid who is 19 years old. He started playing college ball at 17, and he's already working for his master's. This kid's smart, and he still has 3 years of eligibility this year and 2 more years of eligibility left. This kid's a talent, and he's very cerebral. But as he goes, so does Ole Miss. If he goes down, Ole Miss is not going to be near the program that people hope they're going to be this year. He's going to really have to take it. But you look at Stoops. Stoops was not going to let them beat him over the top. He was going to make this a bar fight game. And Ole Miss ran the ball a little more than they usually do.
Yeah, they did. And, 2 picks, being able to overcome 2 interceptions and win a close game like that, I think says a lot about the Ole Miss football team and how Lane Kiffin has adapted. This isn't just a guy who throws it 50 times a game and wants to put up tons of points. I mean, they built this team, from the inside out. Their offensive and defensive lines are better. And, I am kind of impressed with Kentucky, though. Showing up and playing as well as they did. I did not really have a whole lot of hope out for the Wildcats this season, but they were able to, play a pretty good game against Ole Miss. So I thought this was kind of an interesting matchup early in the season for 2 SEC teams.
Well, I got a kick out of it. Did you see who the quarterback of Kentucky is this year?
Yes, Zach Calzada.
And once again, how many teams has that guy played for? I mean, I remember when he played at A&M when they upset Alabama at home on that end of the game field goal. Then he transferred to Incarnate Word. Now
Yes.
he's at Kentucky. I mean, quite frankly, keeping track of where these kids are at is the hardest part about football now. It's like, who cares where they get recruited their first spot? Do they end up being there through the 4 to 5 years that they're there?
Well, and we've learned now that just because you can put up yards at Incarnate Word does not mean you can put them up at other schools. Now, Cam Ward did, but this guy not so much. He threw for 3,700 yards and 35 touchdowns last year at Incarnate Word. So far this year at Kentucky, he's thrown no touchdowns and 200 yards in 2 games. So it doesn't always translate. I don't know how much he's got around him really, but they've got to figure something out on offense if they're going to try and, stand the test of time here in the SEC conference, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, you need speed. I mean, you cannot live on power alone. You need some speed there too. But Stoops has done more with less than anybody I've ever seen. But it seems like Clark Lee may be taking over that for him in Nashville too as well.
Yeah, I agree. And one more game I want to talk about real quick here before we move on to which teams we are buying and which teams we are selling. This is another game where the team like Clemson came back from behind. I believe Kansas was up, 21-6, I believe, in the first half.
21-0.
21-0, correct. And then, they put on 6. I think at halftime was 21-6. And Mizzou came back. And I got to be honest, man, I am pretty impressed with Pribula, the quarterback. This guy, he might be better than Connor Cook, bro. 30 of 39, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. Not only did they throw the ball with consistency and with yardage, they also ran the ball. They had 2 running backs, Roberts and Hardy, both went over 100 yards. What do you think about this offensive output from Mizzou yesterday, putting up 42 points on your boy Leopold?
I mean, literally, you look at this game, it was a tale of 2 games. There was the first quarter, and there was the rest of the game. And if you just started watching at the second quarter and thought it was 0-0, I mean, you would have thought this was a Power 5 team going up against an FCS team. They owned them. They owned them in every stretch of the manner. Now, the one question I've had this year going with Missouri is bringing in Bo Pribula. I mean, I saw him at Penn State, and I'm not going to lie, I was not impressed.
No.
And when I heard he was transferring to Missouri, I'm like, huh. So he's going to hold the clipboard there too as well. Well, the Alpha Nerd has shown up again and developed this guy into be a gunslinger. I mean, this is an impressive team. And you look down the stretch, I mean, Missouri's schedule isn't exactly difficult. I mean, they play all the right games at home. I mean, their toughest game is at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that has a realistic chance of finishing in the top 4 of the SEC by what I've seen thus far. And would you have said that 3 weeks ago? Probably not. I don't think anybody would have. But Alpha Nerd is building something in Columbia right now.
Yeah, and they really played a whole lot better in the second half on defense.
Oh, God, way better.
Gave up 10 points total, and this guy, he's a weird dude. Drinkowitz. I mean, he's just a weird guy, but
he's a dork. He's a dork.
He's a dork, but he's a good football coach.
Yeah,
and does not get the credit that he deserves over there in the Mizzou land in Columbia. So a big win for them, though, to come back. Jalen Daniels, the quarterback at Kansas, guy's been there for 19 seasons. He's a pretty good quarterback, and the only issue that I saw with Kansas yesterday was the inability to run the football. They ran the ball for 3 yards, James. 3 yards. You're not going to beat anybody. How are they winning 21-0 with finishing the game with 3 yards? I mean, that to me kind of blew me away when I kind of noticed they weren't running the ball with any success, but I did not realize until I looked at it later that they finished the game with 3 rushing yards. What the hell was going on there?
I take that back. Missouri did score the first points, and then Kansas scored the next 21. But
21-6.
It was 21-6. But at the same time, I mean, Missouri, it's just their line of scrimmage play, even though they've lost a lot, looks way better.
Yeah.
Like I mean, heck, you go back to the Cotton Bowl. Was it the Cotton Bowl where they played Ohio State in? Where
Yes.
I mean, it was like they were living in the backfield.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought they were going to have to rebuild that. Man, they look just as strong.
Hey, let's not bring that game up, okay? But, please, let's not talk about that game, okay?
You got it. You got it.
Let's see here. So now we are going to talk about the teams that we are buying, the teams that we are selling. Obviously, this is week 2 college football. We did have week 0. Some teams have played 3 games. Most games have played 2. But right now, most teams have played 2 games. And I want to know what you got on these teams and whether you are buying or whether you are selling. The first team that I want to talk about is Florida State. I want to know what you think about the Seminoles. I'm going to tell you right now that I'm not subscribing yet. I'm sorry. I know that they won. They beat Alabama. That's not as big a deal as it used to be, but I am impressed with the victory over Bama. That was great. You know, yesterday they put up 77 points on some team I'd never heard of. But Thomas can change his name to Tommy, but I'm not ready to anoint him the greatest quarterback in college football. What do you think about the Seminoles, and are you buying or selling them?
I think they're executing better, but I'm not buying.
Okay.
I mean, I want to see. I will be bought in by watching a game in 3 weeks against Miami.
Yeah.
When they play the Hurricanes, I want to see how they execute, because right now, I mean, yeah, you beat Sister Mary's, the deaf, dumb, and blind, and you played an Alabama team where I question their line of scrimmage play. So we don't really know what we got. So let's give them 3 weeks, because, I mean, you're not going to figure out with Kent State. You're not going to figure it out with Virginia. So Miami. We got to wait till Miami to figure out who the hell they are.
I get it. And people are going to continue to talk about them because they're probably going to be, 4-0 heading into that game, 4-0 heading into that game?
It's like people talking about Nebraska and Miami. I mean, it's like they keep thinking the early 2000s or late 90s are going to show up again. And I'm still not buying it yet.
No, me neither. I am not buying it yet. Another team which so far so good. Obviously, we talked about this game first off, and that is the Oklahoma Sooners. Big win for them yesterday. You know, they didn't look amazing in week 1 against Illinois State, but they did win 35-3. Mateer threw for 392. I got to tell you, I am buying this team. The reason I'm buying this team is because Venables is calling the defense now. It looks like a Venables defense almost. And then they've got a quarterback in Mateer. Now, as we talk about, am I buying them winning the SEC? No. But can I see this team potentially winning 10 games? Yeah, I can. What do you think about Oklahoma? And are you buying them or selling them?
Oh, that's a different question now, the way you threw it like that. I mean, because I was originally going to go sell because, I mean, I like Mateer, but as much of a gunslinger he is, you got to take the good, you got to take the bad with the good. And sometimes he does some crazy ass crap, like throwing into triple coverage. I mean, he got bailed out a few times yesterday, but
He did.
I worry about him. And you look at the back end of that schedule, that's a really tough schedule. Their last 7 games, man, you know, that's going to be hard to get to that 10-win mark.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that they've got to come up with some semblance of a running game. I mean, their leading rusher through 2 weeks is Mateer, and he's ran 26 times for 98 yards. I want to see Barnes run the football more. I want to see the offensive line open the holes up. I want to see Blaylock run the football more. I mean, you agree with that?
I think Jaden Ott has got to get – I mean, once he gets healthy, what he showed in the past, he is a legitimate threat. If he gets back and is healthy and plays like he did last year, Yeah, 10 wins, no question. I think that 10 wins is realistic.
I get it. I don't care who the running back is.
Yeah,
they got to not. If Mateer runs the ball, this many times throughout the season, he's not going to last.
He's going to hurt. Yeah, he's going to
get hurt, man. He's going to get banged up. I want that guy in the pocket, running when he has to, when he's got to scramble. Okay, get out of there, run out of bounds, get us a first down, get out of bounds, don't take any hits. I don't want to run this guy 10, 15 times a game, James. I just don't think that's a good idea.
No, not at all.
Okay, third team here. This one's a little closer to home here. We're talking about the Tennessee Volunteers. Yesterday, they dropped 72 points, the most points they've ever scored in a game in 20-something years of playing football. Joey Aguilar has stepped into the starter role. He's looked pretty good. Dylan Sampson is obviously gone, but they still have this defense in place. I got to give him credit, dude. I got to give Josh Heupel some credit. He is looking pretty good. I like what I've seen so far out of this team. The wide receivers look way better than they did last year. Are you buying or are you selling the balls?
I'm buying. I look at their schedule as a whole. It doesn't look as difficult as you originally would have thought. This is a team that can go 9-3, 10-2, and go back to the college football playoff. And you look at all the controversy with the Nico stuff during the offseason, you could have really lost this locker room. And what you saw was Coach Heupel really turned this thing around. And, they're getting back to basics. I like their offensive line. I like how they're running the ball. Aguilar doesn't do stupid things with the ball, and their defense is doing really well. They're doing a lot of coffee house blitzes. They look the part, and I'm looking forward to seeing them play against Georgia at home. I think there's a realistic chance. I think they beat Georgia next week.
Wow, that's a big take. I don't know if I'm ready to say that, but Georgia struggled a little bit yesterday. They haven't looked great so far. Tennessee has looked solid. However, who's Tennessee played? They played Syracuse week 1. Syracuse almost got beat by Connecticut yesterday. Then they played ETSU yesterday. I don't think ETSU is gonna play in the college football playoff. So I do need to see a little bit more before I'm booking a ticket to go watch them play in the SEC title game. However, I like what I've seen thus far, and I'm buying what I've seen thus far in these games. I do want to see some more from them, but I like what I've seen thus far. Okay, this other team here, we've talked about them already quite extensively, but I want to talk to them just a little bit more. South Florida, I'm buying it. Okay, as far as a team that has gotten 2 wins so far and has the 2 biggest wins of anybody, I got to say it's South Florida. I like the coach. I like the quarterback. I like the way that they're playing on defense. I like everything I've seen about them so far. What do you think about South Florida? Are you buying or selling them?
Buying big. Literally, this is one where you may want to put all the chips in because honestly, you look at their schedule on the way out. They have 3 road games that are going to dictate everything, where it's going to make them, are they going to be a college football playoff team or not from that group of 5 or group of 6? And that's next week against Miami, at Miami, about 4 weeks later at Memphis, and about another 4 weeks later at Navy. Those 3 games, those 3 road games are going to dictate whether South Florida is going to be playing in the college football playoff. But I think Golish's name is going to be talked about very widely for a bunch of jobs. And I think the biggest one is going to be Florida right off the bat.
Yeah, especially if that one opens up. We will probably – that's the question too. Does this guy stick around and finish what he started, or does he take the cash? And I don't think any of us could really hate on him for jumping ship. Okay, Next team here is another team that has started 2-0, and that is a team that we both thought would probably be a little bit better this year. Lincoln Riley's USC Trojans. They are 2-0. I like what I've seen so far out of this quarterback. Huge day yesterday from Wayman Jordan, running for 167 yards. They've got a couple of nice-looking receivers in Jacoby Lane and also Makai Lemon. What do you think about USC? Are you buying them so far? Do you think that the defense has improved? What do you got on the Trojans?
I think it's too early to tell, so I'm going to sell right now, because it's once again, you look at like last year, going into last year, they've always got the specialty guys. Every single year, they've got it. They've got the receivers, they got the running backs, they got the cornerbacks. It's the line of scrimmage play is the difference maker for Lincoln Riley's roster. And let's be honest, you go back to his Oklahoma days, line of scrimmage play was a problem, and that becomes an issue.
Yeah, I agree. And this is, we're talking about Montana State. I think they played in week 1, and then Georgia Southern.
Missouri State. Missouri
State. Thank you. Missouri State, and then Georgia Southern. And I just don't know what to think about this team so far. I'm selling at this point. I've got to see them beat somebody with a pulse. Next week, they play the Purdue Boilermakers. Is that really a test? I don't think so. But then they play Michigan State, Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oregon, and then some not so good teams. But they've got some tests for sure coming up, and I think we'll know more pretty quickly, don't you?
I think 8-4 is realistic for USC. I really do. I mean, their schedule's not that difficult, but I mean, there's games in the schedule they're not going to win because they're just not going to be physical enough up front. Like, I think they're going to struggle with Michigan. Yeah, I really do.
Let's say they go 8-4. Does he lose his job for that? I mean, they're not paying him $12 million to lose 4 games, are they?
God, that's a great question. I think it all depends on what that buyout looked like.
I do not know what his buyout is. I have not looked that up, but I've got to imagine that there's going to be some people pretty pissed off if they can't do better than 8-4, especially with this schedule.
Do you know what his buyout is?
What?
Between 80 and 90 million.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, they don't have 80 million, I don't think, in that whole program to give out for a guy on his way out the door.
I mean, unless Will Ferrell is going to be making $25 million for old school 25. I mean, I don't see this happening.
Will is not pumping out the movies like he used to, so no. I'm not sure if that's going to work. Last team here that I want to get your opinion on, and now this is a guy who claimed that they were going to the playoff. He's become everybody's darling, and that is Diego Pavia. They're 2-0. I mean, is Virginia Tech great? No, but this is a team that does have some history. They took it to them yesterday, beat them 44-20. What do you think about this Vanderbilt team? And are you buying them at all? Even since they're 2-0, I guess we have to talk about them.
I got to say, I have been a Clark Lee believer from the get-go. And
so you're buying them?
Well, I mean, what does really buying them mean? Do I think they're going to make the college football playoff?
Do you think they're going to win 9 games?
No.
Okay.
I think 7-5 is realistic. Like, I don't see them beating Texas. I don't see them beating Missouri. I don't see them beating Tennessee.
What about South Carolina, who they play next week?
That's the key. And they got to go to South Carolina, and I'm going to take Lenore Sellers every day of the week. That's 8-4 at the best. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. 8-4 at Vanderbilt is like winning a national championship at Alabama.
Oh, if they go 8-4, I think this guy will probably get plucked for another job and probably move elsewhere. If they go 7-5, I think that's pretty impressive considering the schedule that they have. They've got to play South Carolina. They have to play Alabama. They have to play LSU. They have to play Missouri. They have to play Texas. They have to play Auburn. They have to play Kentucky. They have to play Tennessee. You win 7 of those games, buddy. I'm giving this guy a raise.
Yeah, at Vanderbilt, where I mean, they don't have near the NIL budget. I mean, they're not even in the same world. They're in a different universe.
Yeah,
and academically too as well. I mean, this is just mind blowing what Clark Lee. I thought it was incredible what Franklin did when he was there. I think this is better. I think this is way better. What Clark Lee has done.
James Franklin was winning 9-10 games at Vanderbilt consistently. That was absolutely unbelievable. So we'll see. If he can win 9 games this year with that schedule, I will say he's better. How about that?
Yeah, I'm just so impressed with what's funny is I think bringing in guys like Jerry Kill have helped so much because, I mean, their identity is they love that 12-play drive for 80 yards where it's like smacking a chair over your back. And do you know Virginia Tech had -4 yards in the second half? -4.
That's pretty impressive, man. I'm telling you, that's why I mentioned them. I think you have to give them some credit for what they're doing there. They're not going out and paying $12 million for their quarterback like Michigan did. They're not going out and bringing in these high-profile guys in the portal. They're going out and plucking dudes that fit their system, that will come in and fit their culture, and help them win games. And I think that's to be commended because let's be honest, their budget is not the same as some of these other schools. So we'll see how that goes from here. But a pretty cool week 2. I was pretty impressed with some of these games, and thank you. I've never been a Sooners fan in my entire life. However, I was cheering for the Sooners yesterday. Thank you, Mr. Venables and Mr. Mateer. I love you. Thank you for winning that game. That made me so happy. I've never been so happy to watch a team lose as I was yesterday. So thank you to the Boomer Sooner Nation, and go Sooners. All right.
I mean, let me guess. Next week you're going to be go Chippewas too as well. Or
yes,
what?
Yeah, but I don't see them winning. But maybe, hey, you know what? If they can pull it off, I will come to the show wearing a Chippewas shirt. How about that?
Go Chips.
All right, Chips. All right, see you, Chip. Keep your chin up, and we'll talk to you again real soon. We're going to get in touch with Darian and bring him on very shortly when he gets done with his meetings. We'll try and get it up today or Monday at the latest. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Check us out at Man Coverage 2075 on YouTube. Smash that subscribe button. Go to SeatGeek.com, enter promo code NSS, and also head to betus.com and place your bets.
National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by betus.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.